Hi, my name is Tom. I'll be your coach for today. This is Molly. She's our demonstrator for the day. She's a coach and she's a gymnast too. So if you get stuck or aren't sure about anything, feel free to pause or rewind the video to rewatch and listen to what's been said again. I hope you're all excited for today's session. I know we certainly are. Today's theme is forward rolls. I know forward rolls are a skill a lot of us are currently working on, as they're a super important skill in gymnastics, which is why we're spending today's session to focus on them to make sure we can all do them excellently. Forward rolls also lead on to front somersaults when you get older, so if you want to have a good front somersault, then we need to make sure we have a good forward roll, so forward rolls are for everyone. But first, we need to make sure everyone is in a big enough space so you're not going to hit anything around you when you're doing your gymnastics today. Also, have we all got a drink? Are we all wearing our proper gym clothes? And have we all tied our hair up and got a grown-up nearby if needs be? If we've got all of those things, then we can get started for today's gymnastics session. But first, a warm-up. In today's session, our warm-up game is going to be the shape game. So, I'm going to call out a few activities, which Molly, our demonstrator, is going to demonstrate, and then I will call out a shape, such as a pike shape, a tuck shape, a front support shape, and you've got to try and get into them as quickly as we possibly can. Okay? So, here goes. Can we do running on the spot, please, Molly? So making sure we're running nicely, we're getting those knees as high as we can, using those arms to get nice and warm, and our first shape is going to be a front support shape. Perfect, very good, Molly. Okay, back on your feet for me. So we will now do hopping on the spot. Let's hop on the spot for me, Molly. Hop, yep. Really trying to push through those toes, making sure we can hop as high as we can. Our next shape is going to be a dish shape. Can you show me a dish shape, please, Molly? Very, very nice. Okay, back on your feet for me, Molly. Can we straight jump for me with our arms by our ears, trying to jump as high as we possibly can. Very, very good, making sure we're pointing those toes in the air every time we jump. Our next shape is going to be an arch shape, boys and girls. So lying on our belly, the opposite to a dish shape. Very, very good, Molly. Okay, back on your feet for me. Can we do some high knee skipping for me? So skipping on the spot, trying to get those knees as high as we can. Very, very good. Okay, let's do a tuck shape for me. So sitting on your bottom in a tuck shape. Very, very good. Whilst we are there, we're going to do 3 tucked rock and rolls for me. So rock backwards and forwards, holding those knees. Very, very good. Okay, perfect. Back on your feet for me, Molly. Our next exercise, we're going to hop on the other foot this time. So let's make sure we're hopping on the other foot as we did earlier. Again, making sure we push through those toes nice and high, trying to get the highest hop we possibly can. Our next shape is going to be a straddle shape for me, Molly. Can you show me the straddle shape? Excellent, very nice. Can everybody see Molly's pointed toes? Very good, Molly. Back on your feet for me. Okay, let's go back to running on the spot for me. Let's go high knees this time. Let's see how high we can get those knees. Perfect, very good. Our next shape is going to be a pike shape for me, Molly. So pike shape. Very, very nice. Feet together, ankles glued, knees nice and straight. Back on your feet for me, Molly. Can we go tuck jumps this time? So trying to get those knees up to our chest as high as we can. Excellent. Keep going for me, Molly. See how high we can get those jumps at home. Perfect. Our next shape is going to be a star shape. Very good. We've got to have our legs nice and wide and our arms nice and wide also. So let's go back to running on the spot for me, but this time can we try and put our hands behind our back and kick our hands. So getting those heels nice and high at the back. Very good. We are going to go back to a front support shape for me, Molly. Excellent. And whilst we're in this front support shape, let's do 3 press-ups, getting our nose to touch the floor for me. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. Excellent. Very good. Back on your feet for me, Molly. Let's go back to jumping, arms by our ears. We've got to try and hide those ears and jump as high as we can, pointing through those toes to get the highest jump possible. Excellent. Let's go back to a dish shape for me now, Molly. Very well remembered. Whilst we're here, let's do 3 dish rocks for me. So that's where we rock forwards and backwards, holding that dish shape, keeping those toes super pointed. Excellent, Molly. Okay, let's go back to high knee skipping for me. Really trying to get nice and high, pushing out to the floor through that one leg. Excellent. And an arch shape for me. Very, very good. Whilst we're here, we're going to do some arch rocks. So the same as our dish rocks, but this time on our front in an arch shape. Very, very nice. Can everybody see Molly's really pointed toes? That's what we need to make sure we're doing. Okay, back on your feet for me, Molly. Let's go back to doing arms by our ears, straight jumps for me. Very good, making sure we're pointing those toes every time, getting these knees super straight in the air. Okay, we are now going to do a straddle shape for me, Molly. Very good. Whilst we're here, we're going to see if we can do some straddle rolls. Who's got the strength to do that? So rocking forwards and backwards in our straddle shape. Very nice. Making sure we keep those legs and toes super pointed and super tight in the air. Perfect, Molly, very well done. Back on our feet for me. Let's go back to tuck jumps for me, please, Molly. Making sure those knees are nice and high as they come off the floor. Very good. And a pike shape for me. Perfect. So remember, straddle is the one where our feet are apart and pike is the one where our feet are together. Whilst we're here, let's do some pike rock and rolls for me, Molly. Again, making sure those legs stay super straight and toes super pointed whilst they are in the air, rocking forwards and backwards. Excellent, Molly. Can you stand up for me now, please? We'll do one more, which will be high knees again. Let's get some high knees going, making sure we're super warm before we do our session. And one more front support shape. And let's go 3 more press ups, getting those noses to the floor, making sure we are super strong, ready for our gymnastics session. Very nice, well done. Very good job, Molly. Okay, now we've done our warm up, it's time to do a bit of a stretch. So we're going to do a quick head to toe stretch before we get on to a little bit of conditioning, and then we'll get on with our activity. So, starting with our feet slightly apart, we're going to tilt our head to one side, trying to get our ear to our shoulder without lifting that shoulder up. We've got to try and tilt that head all the way over and swap sides. Let's go to the other side for me, Molly. Very good. And can we drop that chin down to our chest for me? Making sure we feel the stretch down the back of our neck and look towards the ceiling. Very good. And let's go half circles to the front. So from ear to ear, forwards for me. Very good. Making sure it's nice and slow so that head doesn't roll off. And half circles to the back for me now, Molly. Perfect. Very good. Making sure all of our neck muscles are nice and warm. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do big arm circles backwards for me. So super straight arms, trying to squash those ears at the top every single time. Let's do 10 arm circles backwards. Yes, super tall at the top, super straight arms. Brilliant. Okay, let's go forwards now for me, Molly. Exactly the same, straight arms, reaching for the ceiling, trying to squash those ears as we do it. Okay, this one's a bit of a tricky one, so let's start at the top, and we're going to see if we can do one forwards and one backwards. Very good, Molly. Molly's excellent at these, boys and girls. Okay, slightly trickier this time. Let's see if we can go in the other direction. Oh, she's cracked it, kids. Very good. But if we do struggle with this, so just stop a second for me, Molly. If we do struggle with this, we can put our hands out in front of us, like this, and we can do small circles in the same direction, and then we can make these circles bigger and bigger, and bigger and bigger until we get past our ears, and then we're doing one forwards and one backwards. Very good. Okay, so now what we're going to do, can you show me that star shape that we did at the beginning again for me, please, Molly? Perfect. Can you put one hand on your hip, put the other arm to your ear, and lean over towards that bent arm? Perfect. We should be feeling a stretch right down the side of our body, making sure we're stretching far enough over to feel that stretch. And back to our star shape for me, please, Molly. And let's put the other hand on our hip, the other arm to our ear, and fold over the side. Perfect. Okay, so we're feeling the stretch down both sides of our body. We can't have one side longer than the other because then we'll be a wonky body, won't we? Okay, so back to our star shape for me, please, Molly. What we're going to do now is we're going to put our arms by our ears and try and get our hands flat on the floor for me. Excellent. Okay, so let's keep going. We've got to make sure we hold those stretches for me. And let's go back to our arms by our ears for me. Let's see if we can wiggle those feet in together. Get our toes glued and see if we can do that again. Put our hands flat on the floor for me, Molly. Oh, very good. We've got to try and keep those knees super straight. Return to a straight shape for me, please, Molly. Just turn to the side so we can see from the side. Perfect. So we can see those knees are super straight, not allowed to bend them. Excellent. Okay, can you sit in a straddle shape for me, please, Molly? Excellent. And put our arms in a star shape again. And fold one arm across your stomach, other arm to ear, and fold over to try and reach that toe, keeping that leg super straight. Excellent. Very good job, Molly. And back to our star shape for me. Put the other arm across our body, other arm to ear, and fold all the way over. Got to try and keep those knees as close to the floor as we can, pressing those knees right down. And back to our star arms for me, Molly. Let's put those arms to our ears and see if we can get our belly button and our nose flat on the floor for me. Let's give it a go, boys and girls. This is a very, very tricky one. So if you do struggle with it, that's okay, but it can be improved. We can get super, super flexible and super, super strong. Okay, let's go arms back to ears for me now, Molly. Let's put those feet together in a pike shape for me and see if we can get our belly button and our noses down on our legs in our pike fold as well. Very, very good. We've got to try and make that gap between our body and our legs as small as we possibly can. Very, very good. Okay, let's sit back up in a pike shape for me, Molly. Relax your arms for me. And we're going to warm our ankles up a little bit. So we're going to flex those feet for me, all the way up to the ceiling and point them all the way down to the floor. Okay, so keep going for me, Molly. So as we flex them, we've got to try and get those toes all the way up to the ceiling, stretch those ankles and point those toes as much as we can, all the way down to the floor. Let's see if we can do one and the other. So one flexed and one pointed. Very good. Molly's been doing this a very long time, boys and girls. She knows exactly what she's doing. Let's see if we can circle those ankles around for me. Very good. It's very important to make sure we've got a lot of movement in our ankles. Okay, perfect. I think our ankles are nice and warm for me, Molly. Let's put our hands together for me and roll our wrist around to get our wrists nice and warm. Just like our ankles, we need to make sure we get our wrists super warm as well, because obviously we're doing lots of gymnastics on our hands and we don't want to hurt our wrists, do we? Okay, let's make really big waves with our hands for me, Molly. Who's got the biggest waves at home, boys and girls? Who can make sure they're doing nice big waves, really, really big? And the other direction, see if we can go in both directions. Excellent, Molly, perfect. Very, very good. Okay, let's swivel around onto our front for me, please, Molly. And we're going to put our hands down on the floor and try and get our hips close to the floor so we're feeling a stretch in our lower back, boys and girls. Yeah, we've got to keep these arms super, super straight. Try and pull our shoulders back together and pressing our hips down towards the floor. So this is our seal stretch shape. We call this a seal stretch. And we're going to go back to our snail stretch where we're trying to pull our bottom up into the air and get our armpits super close to the floor. If you could just move your bottom a little bit further forwards for me, Molly. And yeah, there we go. And try and get those armpits down to the floor. Perfect. And let's go back to our seal stretch. Excellent. So we can feel a stretch across our tummy muscles and making sure we're bending that lower back. And let's go back to our snail stretch for me, Molly. Perfect. Really trying to get those armpits down to the floor. Okay, so can you go into a tuck shape for me now, Molly, please? We're going to hug those knees, making sure we're holding each knee separately, and we're going to do 3 rocks backwards and forwards. So this will stretch our back out. We've just stretched it one way, we're going to stretch it the other way now, and then we're going to do a very, very quick bridge. Okay, so position 1 is going to be lying down in a straight shape on the floor, so legs straight, arms straight. Perfect. Position 2 is hands under shoulders and feet into bottom. And then position 3 is where we lift up to our bridge. So when we lift up to our bridge, we want to try and get our legs straight just like Molly's. If you are in socks, you may find it a little difficult. So we hold it for about 5 seconds and then come down for me. And then we grab those knees again and do another couple rock and rolls. We'll do one more bridge. So our back is nice and warm. Then we're going to do position 1, position 2, and position 3. Perfect, very good. Making sure our head is as far away from the floor as we can possibly get it. And down for me, Molly. A couple more rock and rolls for me. Perfect. Okay, we're now going to warm our legs up a little bit more. So can you put your right leg forwards for me, Molly? And we're going to do a right leg lunge for me. So we're going to try and press that hip down to the floor so we can feel a stretch across the front of our back leg. So we'll hold this for about 10 seconds. And then once you've done that, you straighten that front leg for me, Molly. Put those hands on the floor and we should feel a stretch along the back of the front leg. Yeah. And then we'll go back into that lunge shape for me. And we're going to see if we can bend the back foot up and pull it towards our bottom. We should feel an even greater stretch down the back leg. Balancing in this position is very hard, so if you can do it as well as Molly, you are doing a very, very good job. Okay, and from there we're going to slide down into splits as far as you can. It doesn't matter if we're on the floor or if we're on the ceiling. As far as you can go down, as we can see, Molly is very, very good at splits. And if you are as good at splits at Molly, if you would like to put your hands in the air and look like a pretty gymnast, that would be wonderful. Perfect, very good splits, Molly. Okay, let's move on to the other leg for me. So now let's go left leg lunge, putting that foot nice and far forward, trying to drop that back hip down towards the floor so you feel a stretch on that back leg. So you hold these stretches for about 10 seconds, making sure you feel the stretch the entire time, the best way to get more flexible. And then let's straighten that front leg for me, Molly. Hands on the floor, trying to get that chest down towards that knee, again feeling a stretch on the back of that front leg. Very, very good, Molly. And back to your lunge for me, and bend that back foot up for me. Perfect. So again, we should be feeling a stretch in that back leg, making sure that we're getting that stretch that's going to help our splits. If you want to get better at splits, these stretches that we've just done before our splits are the ones that are going to help. And from there, we're going to slide into splits for me, Molly. Very, very good. So again, hold these stretches for about 10 seconds, and then you will definitely start to feel the benefit. Perfect. Very, very good splits, Molly. If we could lie on our back for me now, we're going to do a bit of active flexibility and then a little bit of conditioning, and then we're going to get on with our activity for the day. Okay, so what we're going to do now with our right leg, so the first leg that we stretched, we're going to do 10 fast kicks as fast as we can. Are we ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. And relax. Did we all see how super straight Molly's leg was and how pointed her feet were? That's exactly what we want to try and get to, boys and girls. And let's do our left leg. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Very, very good, Molly. Okay, so now we're going to do exactly the same, but we're going to stand on our feet and we're going to try and kick our leg up towards the ceiling. So let's have so like our pike fold that we did, let's start with feet together. We're then going to try and get our hands flat on the floor. If you need to walk your hands out a little bit to make sure we've still got super straight legs, then that's fine. And then we'll point one foot to the back and we're going to try and kick that leg as fast as we can up to the ceiling. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect, Molly. And you've always got to make sure you do the other leg, boys and girls, so you're not wonky or lopsided. Let's try the other leg for me now, Molly. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Very, very good, Molly. Okay, very, very quickly, before we do our activity, we're going to do a little bit of conditioning before we get started. So, some simple conditioning involving the shapes that we did at the beginning. We're going to do a front support hold for 10 seconds, okay? So that's this shape that Molly's about to show you, making sure we've got super straight arms. We're trying to hide those ears, squeeze our bottom and squeeze our legs super straight. So we're going to hold this for the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wonderful, Molly. Okay, we're now going to hold a back support shape, which I know we didn't do in the warm-up, but it's definitely a really important shape within gymnastics. So we start in a pike shape like Molly is. We slide those hands backwards, making sure those fingers are facing those toes, and then we've got to try and lift our hips and belly button all the way up to the ceiling. Very, very good. Let's hold this for the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very, very good, Molly. Okay, another shape that we did in the warm-up at the beginning was our dish shape. However, this time we're going to see if we can do a long dish shape, which is where we have our arms by our ears. So again, we'll hold that for the count of 10. Are we ready? And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect demonstration. Thank you, Molly. We're now going to do the shape that we did in the warm-up, which was our arch shape. We're going to hold that for 10 seconds as well before we get on to some moving conditioning. Ready? And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wonderful, Molly. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our first shape, and do some moving conditioning with that shape. So that's our front support shape. And what we're going to do is, we're going to hold it for 5 seconds and then do 5 press-ups. And we're going to do that twice in a row. So we'll hold for 5, do 5 press-ups, hold for 5, do 5 press-ups. Are we ready? And let's hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And press up 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and hold, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and press up 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. Very, very good, Molly. Okay, the next conditioning exercise we're going to do is our back support shape again, and we're going to see if we can do some back support press-ups where we've still got to try and keep those hips as high to the ceiling as we can, but just bending those elbows. Are we ready? So 5, hold for 5, 5 press-ups twice. Ready, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold for 1, 2, 3, very good, Molly, 4, and 5, and press up 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very, very good, Molly. Okay, now we're going to go back to our next shape that we did, which was our dish shape. And from our dish shape, we're going to do some more dish rocks, just like we did in the warm-up. This time, again, we're going to do long dish rocks with our arms by our ears. Are we ready, Molly? Off we go. Let's hold 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rock 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do the second set with our arms down. Hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rock 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wonderful, Molly. Okay. Again, the shape that we did earlier, we're going to do our arch shape. Okay, so lying on our bellies, we're going to hold for 5, rock for 5, and we're going to do that twice in a row. Again, with super straight arms by our ears. Are we ready, Molly? And hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rock 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rock 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wonderful, Molly. Okay, we're going to go back to another exercise that we did in the warm-up, which was our straight jumps. However, this time we're going to do squat straight jumps. So that's where we have to bend down, touch the floor, and then we've got to jump straight from the floor. And we're going to do 10 of those, have a rest, and then do 10 of those again. Okay, are we ready? And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10. Wonderfully demonstrated, Molly. Did everybody see how her bottom touched her heels every time? So she made sure she got all the way down instead of going to about here. Okay, are we ready for second set, Molly? Ready, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10. Wonderful demonstration, Molly. Okay, last little bit of conditioning that we're going to do before we get started. It's going to be some tricky ones. We're going to see if we can do some V-sits, okay? So V-sits are where we start in a dish shape and we've got to reach up and try and touch our toes. We will do 5 of these twice, okay? So we'll have a little break in the middle and then we'll do them again. Are we ready, Molly? So, starting with our arms by our ears, we're going to go up 1, down, 2, down, 3, down, 4, down, and 5, down. Very good, Molly. Did everybody see how straight her knees and toes were the entire time? We've got to try and keep them super straight as we reach up and touch those toes. And again for me, Molly. Are we ready? And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. Wonderful, Molly. Very well demonstrated. Okay, one more little bit of conditioning before we get a quick drinks break before we go and do our activity today, which is forward rolls, is just some very simple heel raises and trying to hold a balance. So a heel raise is where we have super straight legs and we rise up all the way up onto our tiptoes and then we come all the way down. So what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way onto our tiptoes, try and hold that shape, try not to wobble around and then come back down. We will do 10 of those where we hold it at the top on our tiptoes for 3 every time. Are we ready? So we'll go 1, hold, 2, 3 and down and 2. Hold, I hope you're not wobbling boys and girls, and down and 3. Hold, 2, 3 and down and 4. We've got to try and get right onto the top of our tiptoes and down and 5. Very good, Molly. 3 and down and 5, 2, 3 and down and 6, 2, 3 and down and 7, 2, 3 and down and 8, 2, very good, Molly, nearly there, and 9, 2, 3 and down and 10, 2, 3 and down. Wonderful. Okay, so that's our warm-up for the day. That's our conditioning done. So we're ready for our gymnastics session. So if you want to get a quick drinks break, now is the time to do it. Okay, so now on to the main activity, our forward rolls. We're going to do lots of progressions leading up to a forward roll to make sure we have the best forward roll we can possibly do. So, the first progression is sitting on the floor in a tuck shape for me, Molly. We're going to hold each knee separately, make sure we're not hugging those knees or those hands, hold each knee separately, and we're going to rock forwards and backwards 5 times. Making sure we keep those knees nice and close to our chest as we're doing it. Perfect. Okay, another thing I want us to concentrate on is trying to make sure we get our shoulders and head to touch the floor when we rock back and get our feet to touch the floor when we rock forwards. Can we do 5 more for me, please, Molly? So head to the floor, feet to the floor. Head to the floor, feet to the floor. Perfect. Again, making sure we keep those knees as close to our chest as we possibly can. Okay, so the next progression is exactly the same. However, we're going to have our arms straight out in front of us, either side of our knees, and we're going to do 5 rock and rolls there for me. Off you go. So this is a little bit more difficult because we're not holding those knees. We've got to use our tummy muscles to make sure they're keeping those knees in nice and close to our chest. Very good, thank you, Molly. Okay, we're going to do it again one more time. This time, focusing again, making sure our shoulders or head touches the floor and our feet touch the floor. And when we sit up, we're reaching forwards past those knees. Off you go for me, Molly. So back and reach forwards, and back and reach forwards. Perfect. Can we all see Molly reach forwards as she sits up? Perfect. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do 5 rock and rolls with our hands by our ears, just like we do when we push up to a bridge or we're practicing for backward rolls. Yes, so we've got to rock back and then rock forwards and rock back. Very, very good job. So 5 of these for Molly. Perfect. Making sure again that we get onto those feet and our head and shoulders touch the floor. This time we're only going to do 3. However, I want to see if you can hold that shape at the back. See if you can high 10 and hold for 3 seconds. Let's give that a go. So rock back, high 10 and hold. 2, 3 and rock and hold. 2, 3. Very good. One more for me, Molly. See how her knees are going nice and high over her face. Perfect. Okay, so the next station that we're going to do is similar to the one where we rocked with our arms out in front of us, but this time we're going to finish in a squat shape. So we're going to finish here. We've got to try and get up onto our toes. Okay, so arms straight out in front of you, Molly, for me. Rock backwards and forwards and onto your toes. Very good. And again for me, let's do 5 of those. So that's why when we did this one before, we practiced that reach forwards, as that reach is really going to help you get onto those toes. Make sure we're ready to finish that forward roll. Perfect. Thank you, Molly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly the same. However, we're going to add a straight shape. So we rock and roll to squat shape, and then we're going to stand up into a nice tall straight shape before going back down into our squat shape, ready to rock and roll. Let's do 3 of those for me, please, Molly. So we rock foot backwards, forwards, and straight shape, and squat, and backwards, and forwards. Can everybody see how she's getting those knees? One more for me, Molly. Right over her nose as she's rocking back. Perfect. Very, very nice, Molly. So, the next one is a little bit more tricky. we're going to start in a star shape. So we all remember our star shape from the beginning, from our warm-up. So we're going to start in a star shape. We've got to try and see if we can put our hands in between our feet. Yeah, so see if we can get them in one straight line with those feet. And from there, we're going to look between our legs and forward roll to tuck sit. So we're just going to roll over into a tuck sit. Perfect, thank you, Molly. Can we stand up and we'll do 2 more of those for me? Okay, so everybody back on their feet. We're going to start in that big star shape. Place those hands in between our toes, look between our legs, roll forwards and hold those knees. Perfect. 1 more for me, Molly. So making sure we get that head right under, boys and girls, so we don't hit our head on the floor. We've got to try and get those shoulders on the floor. Beautiful, Molly. Okay, so the next progression we're going to do is very similar to this one. However, we're now going to add a rock and roll to stand. Okay, so we're going to start in our star shape. Just like we did before, place our hands in between our toes, drop our head under, go to our tuck sit, reaching these hands forwards, and then rock and roll to stand. So rock backwards, reach these hands forwards, and stand up into our straight shape. Perfect, thank you, Molly. Let's do 2 more of those for me. Okay, and if you can do this really well, you can do the roll without even grabbing your knees. So you'll reach forwards and stand. Excellent, okay. So the next progression we're going to do is we're going to see if we can do it from a straight shape. So we'll go straight shape, roll to tuck sit. Okay, so arms starting up by our ears in a straight shape. We then crouch down towards the floor and place those hands on the floor, look for your knees, and then straighten your legs so your bottom's in the air and roll forwards to our tuck sit, and then rock and roll to stand for me. And reach and stand. Perfect. Let's do 2 more of those for me, Molly. So straight shape first, and then squat to the floor, hands on the floor, nose to knees, straight legs, and lean and roll to tuck sit, rock and roll to stand. Excellent, beautiful straight shape, Molly. 1 more for me. Last time, straight shape, squat shape, hands down, straight leg, nose to knees, roll, tuck sit, rock and roll to stand. Excellent. Okay, so now what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and miss out the rock and roll to stand, so we'll do a forward roll. So we start in our straight shape, crouch down to the floor like we did into our squat shape, place our hands on the floor, nose to knees, straighten those legs, roll and reach and stand. Very nice forward roll. I hope yours look like that, boys and girls. 2 more for me, Molly. So straight shape first, make sure we get all the way down, look for those knees, that's super important. Roll, reach, stand. The looking at the knees, the reaching forwards are the most important parts. 1 more for me, please, Molly. Reach and stand. Excellent, boys and girls. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do some pike rock and rolls to see if we can get some straight legged forward rolls. Okay, so sit in that pike shape for me, Molly. And we're going to do our pike rock and rolls just like we did earlier in the warm-up. So arms straight and rock forwards and backwards, making sure we keep those legs super, super straight. Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to try a pike rock and roll that's a little bit harder. We're going to rock backwards and see if we can get those toes to touch the floor behind our head before we rock to sit again. So keeping those legs super straight, rock all the way back, toes towards the floor, and roll and sit. Just do 2 more for me, Molly. So can we all see how super straight her legs are? That's exactly what our legs need to look like when we're doing these at home. Yeah, super straight legs. Excellent, Molly. Okay, so now we're going to do our pike rock and rolls, just like we have done, into our squat shape. Okay, so at the last second, just before we get to the floor, we have to bend those knees in and get to our squat shape. But I still want to see straight legs over the top. Okay, so let's do a pike roll where our toes touch the floor and then rock to squat shape. So we rock all the way over, tap the floor, roll in, and then into our squat shape. Perfect. Let's do 2 more for me, Molly. So from pike sit, rock to toe touch, rock and reach and squat. Perfect. Last one for me, Molly. Again, boys and girls, can we all see how super straight her legs are? That's what we need to focus on, making sure these legs are super straight. Excellent. Very, very good, Molly. Okay, we're going to do this next progression nice and fast. It's exactly the same as we've just done. We go pike rock, toe tap to squat to stand into our straight shape, okay? So we'll just do 2 of these, boys and girls. We go pike rock, toe tap, roll, reach, stand to straight shape. Perfect. Very nice, Molly. 1 more for me. Making sure we keep these legs as straight for as long as possible, so we bend them in at the last second before we reach and stand. Excellent news. Very, very good, Molly. Okay, we're now going to go back to our star shape. So we'll go star shape, hands down, head under, roll to pike sit. Let's give that a go for me. So star shape, hands in between toes, head under, roll to pike sit. Very, very good, Molly. Let's do one more of those for me. I think our rolls are very, very good, boys and girls, so we don't need to do lots of these. We'll go star shape one more time, hands down, head under, forward roll to pike sit. Beautiful knees and toes, Molly. Okay, so now, once we've done that star shape, forward roll to pike sit, we're going to add the pike rock and roll to stand. So let's do 3 of these for me, Molly. So we go star shape, arms nice and wide, hands down, head under, roll to pike sit, and then rock to toe tap, to reach to squat to stand. Excellent. Let's do 2 more of those for me, Molly. Very, very good. Head under, roll to pike sit, beautiful knees and toes, toe tap, and then roll, reach and stand. Remembering, boys and girls, the reason we're doing this in a pike shape is so we can keep those legs straight for as long as possible before we then tuck them in to stand up. One more for me, Molly. Star shape, hands down, head under, roll, and then roll back. Keep these legs as straight as long as we can, and then tuck. Beautiful demonstration from Molly there, boys and girls. I hope ours look just as beautiful as Molly's do. Okay, we're now going to go from our straight shape. So we're going to go straight shape, roll to pike sit. We'll do 3 of these for me, please, Molly. So again, straight shape, squat down, hands on the floor, head under, straight legs. Keep those legs straight as we roll. Perfect, very nice. Let's do 2 more of those for me, Molly. Remembering, boys and girls, we need to get that chin down on our chest, looking for those knees, so we don't hit our head on the floor. Hands down, chin under, straight legs, roll. Can we all see how Molly's keeping her arms super straight as well? That's a very, very good tip to try and practice our forward rolls with straight arms. So squat, nose, knees, roll. Very, very good. Okay, just like all of the other progressions, we're now going to add the rock and roll to sit. So we're going to do 3 of these. We'll go straight shape to pike sit, pike rock and roll to stand. So straight shape, squat, hands, nose, knees, roll to pike sit, and then we go roll to toe tap, reach and stand. Very good. 2 more for me, Molly. Making sure, boys and girls, again, the reason we're doing these in a pike shape is to keep our legs straight for as long as possible. So let's watch Molly's legs. They're super straight, and then as we go into the pike sit, we roll back, tap, and then she doesn't bend them until the last second. 1 more of those for me, please, Molly. Yeah, so we've got to practice those super straight legs and pointed toes just like Molly's, boys and girls. Beautiful pike sit, super straight legs, toe tap, reach and stand. Excellent. Now we've got the hang of that one, we're going to try the whole thing from a straight shape. So it's our normal forward roll, however we're focusing on those super straight legs over the top. Okay, so a forward roll all the way through. Let's start in the straight shape for me, Molly. Arms by our ears, we squat as we normally do. Hands go to the floor, nose goes to knees, straight legs, roll and stand. Did we all see those beautifully straight legs over the top? I hope yours look like that. Let's do 2 more for me, Molly. So straight shape, squat, hands, knees, reach and stand. Beautiful. 1 more, Molly. Those legs have got to be super straight over the top, boys and girls, to make it the best forward roll you can possibly do. Very, very good, Molly. I hope all of ours look like that, boys and girls. So that is our activity done for the day on forward rolls. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a quick cool down to end the session, a couple stretches, and then we're done for the day. Okay, so our cool down, we're going to see if we can do 30 seconds of high kneed running on the spot for me. Off you go for me, Molly. So, boys and girls, if you want to get a grown-up to time you, or if a brother or sister, they could time you for the 30 seconds. So the aim is to get our knees as high as we can the whole time for the entire 30 seconds. Very, very good, Molly. Keep going, nearly there, nearly there. Very, very good. And then let's do marching for 30 seconds. So just high knee walking on the spot, nice and fast, making sure we've still got pointy toes, boys and girls. So let's do 30-second marching. Again, if you've got a grown-up nearby, if you've got a brother or sister, or on your phone, or a stopwatch, or an actual watch, or a clock in the house, you can time yourself for the 30 seconds. Perfect. Let's just do some normal fast-paced walking now for me, Molly. Nice and fast walking on the spot. Yep, so we're just trying to bring that heart rate and body temperature back down to a normal temperature because we've just done all that exercise, so we're going to be nice and warm. We just need to bring our body back down to a normal temperature before we stop the session. Perfect. Okay, very good, Molly. We're going to do a quick couple of stretches, so if you can sit in a pike shape for me. With our arms by our ears, we're going to pike fold over the top for me. See if we can get our nose to our knees again, just to stretch our muscles out so they are nice and relaxed for when we've stopped doing all our exercise for the day. Perfect. Good job, Molly. Let's do it in a straddle shape for me. So let's go into those star arms again. Fold one arm across our belly, other arm to ear, and fold down to the side. So we're stretching that leg on its own, making sure it gets a very, very, very good stretch. And back to star arms for me, Molly. Fold the other arm across our stomach, other arm to ear, and fold. Very good at this, boys and girls. She knows what's coming. Very, very good, Molly. And arms by our ears, and see if we can reach all the way down to the floor. Again, just like in our warm-up, boys and girls, this is a very, very tricky one. Relies on you to be very, very flexible. So don't worry if we struggle with this stretch. Okay, we're going to do a very, very quick bridge just before we finish. So who remembers our position 1? Lying straight on our back with our arms by our ears. And then our position 2. Molly remembers. And then position 3, pushing up to bridge, trying to get those shoulders right on top of those hands and those super straight legs, just like Molly's. Very, very good, Molly. Come down for me. Hold those knees and do 3 touch rock and rolls, which we should all be excellent at by now because we've done so many of them today in our forward rolls. Perfect. Thank you very much, Molly. Okay, so that's our session for the day, boys and girls. We have done forward rolls today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know we certainly have. Don't forget about your live Zoom session every Saturday morning, and we will be releasing a pre-recorded session just like this one for you to do at home throughout the week as many times as you like. I hope you have a good day, and we will see you soon.